All right, so in this episode of Paint Talk, I'm going to tell you 10 things that I did to become a full-time oil painter. All right, welcome to Paint Talk, the weekly show where I sit, have a cup of coffee, and talk about oil painting. If you're new to the channel, then welcome to Paint Coach. My name is Chris Fornatero, and I'm here to help simplify oil painting so that you can get better faster. Okay, so some quick information on how I make a living as an oil painter. I mainly do it through teaching. I got this YouTube channel and I teach oil painting, but there are a ton of different ways to make a living off of your painting or your artwork. And the things I want to talk about that I feel can apply with whatever avenue you want to take your artwork in, whether it's, selling prints, getting into galleries, whatever it is you want to do. This is just what I did and what worked for me. Okay, so the first thing that I did was I treated painting like a full-time job before it was my full-time job. See, the thing is, if you put in a part-time effort, it's only gonna be a part-time job, which is totally fine if that's what you wanna do. I always found it so interesting how so many artists will have a job they don't like because they have to pay bills, and they will give that job more attention, more time, and more respect than their art. And I know you're thinking like, well, Chris, yeah, because their job is getting the money and it's paying the bills and they have to treat it with more importance. I know that's important, and you should do that job the absolute best that you can, because that habit of not doing your best and not trying to be better will bleed into every other aspect of your life. And you'll get okay with not doing a good job, which is not something you want to do. I was a waiter for 10 years. I wasn't very good at the start, but by the end, I was the waiter that would train new waiters. But see, the thing was that job was only around 4 to 6 hours a day. And let's say you sleep 8 hours, that gives you 10 free hours to practice your art and to create it into what you want it to be. Now, I didn't spend all of those 10 hours just doing nothing but painting, but I made sure to designate a certain amount of time each day to developing my painting into a business because it was important to me. A lot of times it was the first thing I did when I got up in the morning because I didn't want there to even be the possibility of something else getting in the way. Like if I said, oh, I'll start painting at 2 o'clock and I'll paint from, 2 o'clock to 5 o'clock. That gave the opportunity for something to come up during the day, or for me to, not really feel like it by the time 2 o'clock rolled around and, I really wouldn't want to do it and I wouldn't paint or work on my business. And I know everyone's got a lot going on. People have families and other responsibilities and this and that, and you might not be able to put in the amount of time you want every day in painting, but just start small. Even if it's 30 minutes, say I'm gonna find 30 minutes to sit down and paint, or I'm gonna find 30 minutes to make my website for my art. Because what will happen is things will start snowballing. Let's just say you put 30 minutes a day into building your art into a business. That comes out to 3.5 hours a week. That's actually like a lot of time. Because you know how work goes. Like you say, oh, I worked 3 hours today. It's like, oh, really? Did you work 3 hours? Or did you work for 15 minutes and then you went onto Facebook and then you worked for another 30 minutes and then you went onto YouTube and watched some of my videos and then you go, do this or that? And how much work did you actually put into the thing? That's another cool thing about if you just sit down for 30 minutes and it's only 30 minutes, chances are you're gonna maximize that 30 minutes, and every second of that 30 minutes is gonna be put working on what you wanna work on. It will get easier to devote more time to it because it will become more important. Let's say if you wanted to sell your work and you put some effort in your website and your social media, and now you actually start selling a painting here or there, or you get a commission every month or so. Now in your mind you can justify putting more effort and time in because now it's actually giving you something back. All right, the second thing that I did is I did not wait for the cavalry to come. And that means I didn't wait for something to happen to bring success. Like I didn't wait for someone to contact me that owned a gallery. It was like, hey, I really like your work and I want to, represent you, or, a YouTube video or an Instagram post goes viral and all of a sudden I have, a bigger following and that leads to commissions or something like that. I never assumed anything like that would ever happen. If I wasn't getting the opportunities that I wanted, I would put all that responsibility on myself. And I would think to myself, okay, what can I do differently to make things start happening? What can I get better at? What business angle haven't I tried yet? I really can't emphasize this enough of, no matter which avenue you're going down, don't wait on anybody. If you want to be in galleries, email the galleries. If they're not emailing you back, go in and talk to the gallery owner. Even if they don't want to represent you, at least you can talk to them and get a gallery owner's feedback on your work. And you can't take anything personal because that gallery owner, they want to make money. And if they think that your paintings will sell, which is what you want your paintings to sell, they're going to take you on because if you sell paintings, they make money. But there's a lot of other different factors that go into like a gallery want you or not. Like I went into a gallery, he's like, yeah, your work's great, but our gallery, we sell a lot more abstract pieces at this location. He had another location up in Virginia. He's like, actually, we sell a lot more landscapes up there. So if you had some landscapes from Virginia, I would actually want to put those in that one. It was a really helpful experience. You know, I didn't get into that gallery, but I talked to the owner and he gave me a lot of information that I didn't know about. And that's because I actually went there. I took the initiative to go there and talk to him. I didn't just email my stuff and then hope that he replied. And then when he didn't, I was like, oh well, I guess they don't like me, moving on. All right, the third thing that I did was I worked for free a lot of times. I did a lot of painting commissions for very little money or no money because that particular commission would get me exposure. I actually made a whole video on painting commissions. If you want to check that out for more info, I'll put a link to that video above right now. But also at the beginning of my channel, I would put hours upon hours into videos that not that many people were watching. I always saw it as I was getting paid in experience. Every time I do a painting or make a video, I always just saw it as a valuable learning experience I needed to go through to get better. If you think about it, you can't buy experience. You can learn from other people's experience, but actually having the experience yourself and going through it is priceless in my opinion. All right, the fourth thing that I did was I focused on one kind of avenue or aspect of painting. When I first decided to try and turn my paintings into a profit, I really tried kind of like any way that I could. And that was good and bad. It was bad because you only have a certain amount of time and energy you can put into something. And you're gonna reach a higher level if you can put all of that energy into one thing. If you divide it up into a bunch of other things, you're not gonna reach as high of a level as if you put it into one thing. But on the other hand, it did help me figure out what I wanted to do. Because when I started, I guess I really didn't know exactly what I wanted to do. I wanted to paint, but I didn't really know where to go from there. But once I figured out that I really want to just do the teaching, I really focused in on that and I let a lot of other things go. You know, I rarely take commissions now and I like doing commissions and you know, it's fun and it's money, but being able to say no to certain things is really important to make main thing you want to do grow and be successul. All right, the fifth thing that I did was I learned business stuff. You know, no matter what avenue you go down with your painting, if you're gonna try and make money off of it, you're gonna have to learn business stuff one way or another. Not only that, you're gonna have to learn things that aren't painting related. And I know for painters and artists, that's really tough because we like doing our art so much that if we ever have any free time, we wanna spend it doing that. Like, I get that. And for me, I had to learn a lot of things that I didn't know anything about. Like, I had to learn computers. I'm not a computer guy. I am not a camera guy. I had to learn cameras and editing. I had to learn how YouTube worked. Like, how do you create an online course? How do you do this? How do you film your painting and not get glare? And how do I just had to learn a lot of stuff that I didn't know about. I wasn't interested in. Like, I'm not a tech guy. I'm not into techie stuff. But I knew I had to learn it, so I learned it. And it was definitely worth it. You know, for other people, it might be understanding how to make good prints, you know, researching how much to sell your print, how much do the prints cost, how much do the prints ship, are you gonna ship them, are you gonna hire somebody else to ship them, you know, what's too big, what's too small, is it better to buy your own printer? I remember I saw a video from Lena Danya and she talked about the time where she took the leap and invested in her own printer because she sells a lot of prints and she crunched the numbers and just business-wise it was better for her to buy her own machine than having somebody else print it. If you want to get into galleries, you have to learn the whole business of the galleries. You understand what's normal. Do you need representation? You know, you don't want to get shafted by a gallery. So don't be afraid to learn things that you really know absolutely nothing about. All right, so the sixth thing that I did is I used the current job that I had that I didn't like as motivation to put more effort into making painting my full-time job. You know, whenever I feel that sting of going into work and just being like, man, like I do not want to do this. I don't want to be here. I would consciously be aware of that and say to myself, all right, remember how this feels. Like, remember how much you don't want to do this. So when the time comes for you to paint and work on your business and you may not feel like it, you might be tired or you want to go do something else, remember this feeling and how you don't want to feel it and use that as motivation to put more time and effort into your painting. All right, the seventh thing that I did was I always put getting better first. You know, it's very easy to get caught up in all the business stuff of painting and kind of forget that you are a painter and that you are on a never-ending quest to get better at painting. It never ends. And I might be putting time into learning, you know, videos and, you know, making a course or this or that, but my number one priority is always improving my own skills. Because for me, honestly, if I wasn't always trying to get better at painting, I don't know if I would want to do it anymore. It's like, well, what's the point of doing it? And I know I'm always learning, and if I'm always learning, then I'll always be able to teach people what I've learned. And I always want to be in that learning mindset because I feel like it helps me teach, of being aware of what it's like to be learning and to want to know things that you don't know and trying to do things that you can't do yet. And you just want to know what you got to do to be able to, paint a certain way. I never want to find myself just coasting, being like, oh yeah, everything's working out, everything's good. I don't really need to try, push myself harder than I need to. I think I'm doing pretty good. Like, no, I always want to be trying to improve. All right, the 8th thing that I did was I painted what I was interested in. When I first decided to teach through videos on YouTube, I didn't change the way I painted. Even though that when I went on YouTube and saw that the most popular painting videos were people that paint in a very different style than me, like a very tight, very, sometimes hyper realistic, extremely detailed. I didn't let that sway me or make me try and paint in a way that I didn't want to paint to have more success. I was like, no, I want to paint this way. And when I was learning to oil paint and trying to learn from YouTube videos, I never found someone that painted really how I wanted to paint. I knew a lot of people that painted how I wanted to paint, but none of them had YouTube channels. So I thought, like, okay, once I'm good enough and feel like I could teach this, I'm gonna fill that hole on YouTube. I get a lot of people asking me, like, Chris, like, what should I paint to sell more paintings? Should I focus on landscapes or portraits? Should I focus just on one thing? And I always say, paint what you want to paint most. And if you like painting a bunch of different things, paint a bunch of different things. I always say, don't try to make your paintings interesting. Just be interested in your paintings, and everything will take care of itself. All right, the 9th thing that I did was I immersed myself. They always say the best way to learn a foreign language is to immerse yourself in the language and the culture, and that's the quickest way you're gonna pick it up. The same goes for painting or business or anything like that. So as soon as I decided I wanted to do this, I was constantly watching videos on anything related to what I was trying to do. I'd watch endless videos about creating a YouTube channel. I would actually watch videos on getting freelance work. There's a lot of videos on people like talking about like, oh, how to become a freelance, whatever. And I was like, well, if I'm doing commissions, if I'm trying to get commissions, I'm like, oh, that's pretty much just being a freelance painter. So I would watch a lot of tutorials that were geared towards more business stuff. It actually helped me get commissions. If you think about it, if you're trying to make money with your paintings, you're an entrepreneur. You're starting your own business. So any information that you can get on starting your own business is gonna be very helpful. All right, and the 10th thing that I did was I never gave up. Giving up was really never an option in my mind. I had a lot of things not work. I was not good at a lot of stuff when I first started. A lot of my first videos here on YouTube were not the best. When I would talk to people and tell people what I'm doing, a lot of times I could feel their eyes rolling in the back of their head like, oh, you're gonna become a YouTuber. But I just didn't let that bother me. I knew what I wanted to do and I was just gonna go do it. If making a living painting was easy, every single painter would do it. So it's not easy, it's not gonna be easy, but that's what makes it great. All right, so if you're a painter out there, if you're an artist and you are making a living painting, whether it's part-time, full-time, and you got some good tips yourself, leave those tips in the comments section. I'd like to see them. If you like this video, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. And if you would like to see what I am painting on a daily basis, you can follow me on Instagram at Forza43. I'm Chris Fornatero here telling you to go get painting.